Good morning all. Welcome back to our course on the C programming language. In today's session I am going to discuss about a very simple topic which gives the differences between the break and continue statements in C. So coming to we'll also discuss the programming part, how this break will be executed and continue will be executed with very simple programs. I would like to explain it. But before this, let me tell you what this break and continue is. So break and continue are the keywords that are available in C. We know from the previous discussions that C programming supports 32 keywords, which are also called as the reserved words. That means the meaning of those words is reserved and you cannot make use of those keywords for other purposes. So if you make use of, for example, if you take int, it should be used for creating the integer variables. Similarly, if you take break, it is used to do that perform or it is used to perform that particular task only. So reserved words are those words which meaning of those words has been already defined and nobody can change it. So this break and continue, they will come under the category of the keywords in the C programming language. And if you look at the importance of this break and continue, this break and continue, they belong to the same type of statements, and the main purpose of this break and continue is to alter the flow of a program. It is used to alter the flow of a program. The meaning of this altering the flow of the program means we know that the C programming language works on the basis of sequential execution. Sequential execution in the sense that every statement will be executed one after the other. For example, if a program consists of 10 statements, let us assume that. So it will start executing the program from the statement 1, then statement 2 will be executed, then statement 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the flow the C program is going to follow for its execution. But there are some situations where you want to skip some of the statements and you want to jump from one point of program to another point of program. In such situations, you have some options that are available in the C programming language, like the break and continue. So they are going to alter the flow of normal sequential execution of the program. But even though both of them are used to alter the flow of a program, this is the common thing both of them can do. But there are a lot of differences that we need to discuss under this break and continue. So by looking at the statement break, we can understand that it's a simple break, right? We can understand that from the English terminology also, that it is going to break something. That means it is going to terminate something. So in this case, in the case of C programming language, if you consider this break, it is going to terminate the smallest loop or the innermost loop, smallest enclosing loop, we can say it like that, right? So when I want to come out of the innermost loop, if I meet some condition, then I would like to make use of this break statement. So the concept here you have to understand is this break statement is used with the looping constructs. We know what are all the looping constructs that are available in C. Let me write it here. That is for, and another one is while, and next one is do while. So we can make use of this break statement in any of these looping constructs, whether it is a for, while or do while. Other than this, we can also make use of this break statement in the switch case. So if we have gone through the previous videos or the previous discussions under this C programming language, under the topic switch case, you can see that there we are making use of this break statement also. So overall we can say that the break statement is used to break out from the smallest enclosing loop or a switch statement also. But when you consider this continue statement or continue keyword, the statement is used to skip the present iteration and continue with the next iteration. Iteration in the sense, we know that for, while and do while are used for looping, that is nothing but iterations. So for example, if for loop is going to iterate for 10 times, and I can write a program that at one point or at one condition you can simply skip that iteration and you can continue with the next iterations. So this is the purpose of this continue statement. So if you look at the point regarding this continue, it is used to skip the present iteration and continue with the next iteration. So you are going to skip only the present iteration, but it is going to come out of the loop and again it is going to execute the increment or decrement part, and again it is going to continue with the next iterations. And remember that this break continue statement can be used only with the looping constructs. That means you can make use of these continue statements when you are making use of this while, do while or for constructs in the C programming language. So these are the major differences between this break and continue. As I told that the break is used to break out of the innermost enclosing loop or a switch, whereas a continue is used to go to the next iteration or to break the present iteration and continue with the next iteration. And one more important thing, as I told that this break statement can be used both with the looping constructs as well as the switch case, whereas the continue can appear only in the looping constructs. That is, you can go with the for, while or do while statements. So these are the major differences that we can see between these break and continue. So let me explain or let me clear this with a simple programming example that shows how this break and continue is going to execute. Right. So let me write a program for the break statement. So I start this with hash, okay. I'm including the stdio.h preprocessor directive, and here I write my main function, and I would like to take one integer variable and assign it with the value of 1. If you don't assign it also, it's nothing wrong in it, right? Now I'm going to make use of a for loop. Why I'm making use of for loop means, as we know that for loop is more convenient. The reason is all the three parts, that is the initialization, condition checking and the updation part, everything comes in the single statement. So that is the reason why most of the time we prefer to have this for loop. But there is no problem when you make use of this while or do while also. So here I am making use of this for, and it is going to loop for 10 times. But what I would like to write here is, if the I value is equal to 5, then I just want to break out of this loop. This is what I want to write. We can write like this, break. So you can see that I am writing a single statement after this if, and I don't have any curly braces after this if. And you please observe that when I don't put this curly braces after any construct, then the immediate statement that follows that construct will be the only statement that belongs to that construct. So here for this if I didn't put any curly braces. So the only statement that belongs to this if I is equal to 5 is the break statement. And when you look at I just want to print this I value. Sorry. And you can see here that this printf statement belongs to for loop, and this if I is equal to 5 break also belongs to for loop, but the point you have to note here is the break statement belongs to the if block, it's not to for block. So I just want to execute it, and let us see what happens here, and I will explain how this is going to execute. So this is see here the output is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Let me write it in separate lines like this. Okay, see here. So if you look at this program, I have initialized the I value to 0 and I want to iterate it to 10 times. So initially I is equal to 0 will be taken, 0 less than 10 condition is true, it will enter into the for block, but if I is equal to 5, that means 0 is equal to 5 is failed, therefore break will not be executed. So it will execute the other statements of the for loop, which is printf, %d and I. So 0 will be printed and then it will go and execute the updation part. I value becomes 1, 1 less than 10, okay, condition true, execute the for body, but if condition is failed because I is not equal to 5, therefore break will not be executed. And again 1 will be printed, then increment part I becomes 2, 2 less than 10 condition true, 2 is equal to 5 condition false, so break will not be executed, and then printf the value of 2 will be printed here. Then I becomes 3, 3 less than 10 condition true, here this break will not be executed because 3 is not equal to 5 and 3 will be printed. Again I becomes 4, 4 less than 10 condition true, execute the body of the for loop, and 4 is equal to 5, this is not the true statement, therefore it will skip the execution of break and then it will print this one. So 4 is printed as output. Now comes the actual part. So I value is incremented and it becomes 5, 5 less than 10 the condition is true, therefore it will enter into the looping for loop. But here what happens is if I is equal to 5, that is 5 is equal to 5, this condition is true, therefore if condition will be executed, if block will be executed, that is we get a break statement that is to be executed. So when the compiler executes or when the compiler compiles this break statement, as we know that break is used to come out of the innermost loop. So we have only one loop here and it will come out of the for loop and it will come at this particular point at this location here. So there are no statements to execute here, so it will definitely terminate the main, and then the output what I got here is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 here. So this is how the break is going to work. It is going to come out of the loop permanently when this break is executed. Let me make a small modification here, that I just change it from break to continue. Let us see the output here. See, the output is that you got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but you don't have this 5 value and you have this 6, 7, 8, 9. Let us see how this is going to work. The same thing, I initialize the value of I to 0, 0 less than 10 condition true, it will enter into the for block. 0 is equal to 5, continue will not be executed because the condition is false. Now the I value is printed, therefore 0 is printed, and here I value is incremented, I less than 10, that is 1 less than 10, 1 is not equal to 5, so continue will not be executed, so printf, it will print the value of 1. Like this, it will take all the values of I up to 4. But at I value is equal to 5, 5 less than 10, the condition is true, and it enters into the for block, and it is going to execute this statement also. Why? Because 5 is equal to 5. This is true. When this is true, it is going to execute the continue statement. And continue statement executes in such a way that it is going to end the present iteration. So whatever statements that we have after this continue will not be executed. So it will simply come out of this for loop, and it will not break permanently. It will break for the present iteration. So after coming out of the for loop, it is going to execute this I++ value again. So it is going to execute the next iteration. So the I value becomes 6 at this point. 6 less than 10, condition is true. If 6 is equal to 5, failed, so continue will not be executed, and 6 will be printed. Like that, 7 will be printed, 8 will be printed, 9 will be printed. And finally, when I is equal to 10, 10 less than 10, condition is false, so it will come out of the for loop, and it is going to, the control is going to be present at this location, and there are no statements to execute in this main function. Therefore, it will come out, and the final result what I will get here will be 0 to 9 excluding 5. The reason why it is going to exclude means this condition is met and it has executed the continue statement. Therefore, the next statements which are going to be followed by this continue will not be executed. So this is all about our the concept today's session, that is break versus continue. Before ending up this session, let us have a quick recap of what we have discussed in today's session. In today's session, we have started our discussion on the break versus continue. I told that both of them belong to the keywords category. We have discussed what are these keywords, what are the other names for the keywords like reserved words, and we discussed that break and continue, both of them are used to alter the flow of a program. We have discussed a lot on what do we mean by altering the flow of a program. In general, a C program works in a sequential fashion, but when you want to alter the flow of a program, you can do it by making use of some constructs that are available in C, out of which break and continue are the two constructs that are available. Other than this, we have also like goto is available, which is deprecated. We cannot make use of goto because we have some unexpected results when we make use of this goto function, goto keywords. So at max we won't try to use these goto statements. And coming to the discussion part, break is a keyword which is used to terminate the smallest enclosing loop permanently. So you are going to come out of that entirely. Whereas if you go for continue, it is going to skip the present iteration and it is going to continue with the next iteration. And the second most important thing is this break can be used with both looping constructs as well as the switch statement also. But the continue can be used only with the looping construct, that is for, while and do while. And finally, we have seen the programming part related to this break and continue, and I showed how this break and continue is going to execute it. So that's all for today's session. Thank you one and all for joining the session.